Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I am doing another pregnancy update. This is my 4th month of pregnancy. For everybody who doesn't know me, my name is Annika. This is my 5th pregnancy. I had 3 miscarriages during week 11 and twice during week 8. And then I had my rainbow baby, my beautiful little daughter Luana. And now I am pregnant again with another healthy baby that we will hopefully welcome in January of next year. I just want to talk about my 4th month of pregnancy, so my week 14 to 17, and I will always talk about the days leading up to the week, which means I will start at 13 weeks and 1 day and going up to 17 weeks. And after every week I will show you a bump picture, so let's jump right into it. For my 14th week of pregnancy, if you have seen my last video, then I will just say all the symptoms from that week continued. I was feeling really exhausted, really nauseous because I just couldn't eat anything anymore. Every time I would find something, the next day it would just sound and smell awful to me. And since I couldn't eat at all, I was feeling more and more weak throughout the days and more exhausted because I just didn't get any energy from any food anymore. Taking care of my little girl, who was not even 11 months old by then, was exhausting. And dirty diapers, boom, oh my goodness, they smelled disgusting. And towards the end of week 14, I also got some diarrhea, which got me even more exhausted because I not only didn't drink much and didn't eat much, but I also lost all my fluids pretty quickly, and it was just a bad cycle. And because I didn't eat much, my bump also didn't show very much, but I will show you my 14-week bump. During my 15th week, the symptoms continued. I did feel that I got more and more weak throughout the week because I was not able to eat much. I was really nauseous all the time. I got really out of breath so easily about little things, and dizziness hit really bad that week as well. Every time I would get up too quickly or even just bend down to pick up my daughter and come back up, I would feel so lightheaded and so dizzy. Sometimes see those stars that you sometimes see and feel like, whoa, I have to hold on to some furniture so I don't fall over. That was really bad this week, and I just noticed overall that I was, every day I was getting worse and worse. And I was still nursing at that time. I was still nursing my daughter during the day multiple times, and I just felt like even like she was sucking out the last bit of energy that I had. But I wanted to give it to her because I know that nursing is so important, and I wanted to give her all the nutrition that she needs because she was not even a year old yet. And because of the fact that I was not eating much and like losing the stuff that I did have inside of me, I was losing weight. I did not gain anything up to this point. I actually lost quite something, and my belly didn't really grow that much because I was just not eating much. So here's my 15-week bump. During my 16th week of pregnancy is when everything went to my lowest point of this pregnancy yet. 15 weeks and 2 days I woke up. I was super nauseous like every day and every night, feeling lightheaded, weird, and I didn't even have breakfast yet, and I was getting up, running to the bathroom, and I threw up. With nothing in your stomach, there's nothing coming up besides kind of like foamy, disgusting, like saliva, I guess. I know, really gross, TMI. But it hurts so bad trying to like get rid of that gagging feeling and having nothing in you that needs to get out because there's nothing in there. It was just, I felt awful. I was crying and I was just sitting over the toilet and being like, oh, please God, just make it stop. It's awful and I feel bad and there's nothing that helps. I tried it all. Literally, I tried it all. Nothing helped. One day I would be able to eat something, and the next day I would eat exactly that and I would throw it back up, and like I couldn't find anything that worked for me. The week continued with vomiting every single day. Sometimes at night, sometimes during the day, sometimes both, and every day I felt more and more weak and dizzy and out of breath, and I just couldn't do it anymore. Like I said, I was still nursing my daughter, and that one Monday I was 15 weeks and 4 days. I was actually at a store with my daughter, and all of a sudden I got really lightheaded. I got really sweaty. I was freezing. My hands were ice cold. I was shaking. My legs were shaking, and I noticed I'm going to pass out right now. So I sat down on the floor so I wouldn't collapse. I was just sitting there thinking like, holy cow, how am I gonna get back home with my daughter, like safe? And I was just sitting there for a while and I felt super awkward. It was so embarrassing. But then after I felt a little better, I found a chair close by. So I was sitting down in that chair. I was like, oh, it will pass in a few minutes and then we can go straight home. And it didn't though. I was just sitting there like praying like, Lord, please let us go home safe and sound. I need to bring my daughter home safe because I'm not feeling well. Thankfully we got home safe, and I just had to lay down. I couldn't do anything anymore. I was just feeling so weak, so out of it, and my legs were shaking and I was sweating and I was cold and shaking, and it was just bad. And it continued the next day, and I ended up calling my OBGYN that I was planning to go to have my 20 weeks screening, and I described the symptoms to them, and they were like, no, you need to go to the hospital right away. We can't do anything for you here anyways. Go to the hospital right now. And I was like, oh gosh. Okay, so my husband was working. I have no family here. The only family I have are my grandparents that live above. But they were going on vacation that day. So they were about to leave to get their train. And I was calling around mothers that would take care of my daughter while I was going to the hospital because my husband had to work. And it just all didn't really work out. I was just crying. I was so out of it. I was like, how am I going to do this? I still nurse my daughter, and if I'm going to the hospital now, they will do all the testings and someone has to take care of my daughter, and it was bad. My grandma, thankfully, I'm really happy and thankful for that she decided to stay home. So my grandpa was going on vacation by himself, and she was bringing me to the hospital, taking my daughter with me. She was taking care of her during that time. So as soon as we got there, I couldn't even walk into the hospital. I was so weak. And they asked me if I needed a wheelchair. And I felt so awkward. I was like, no, I don't need a wheelchair. I can walk in there. So I walked in there. It was a huge hospital. It was like 40 minutes away. And I walked to one station and they're like, oh no, we can't take you here. You need to go down there and then this way, that way. So we went down there, and every step was getting harder and harder. And then we went to, I think it was the maternity ward or something. And there were so many newborns around me, and then I was just like sitting there because they were getting all my informations, and I was sitting down on the floor because I couldn't stand anymore. And then the nurse, she looked at me and she's like, you need a wheelchair. You are so pale right now, and the station that you actually need to go to is kind of far away, and I will bring you there with the wheelchair. And I was like, okay, because I was so dizzy. I was not, like, it felt like I was in a dream. I was not even understanding what they were saying to me anymore. It was just so bad. So she put me in that wheelchair and she wheeled me all the way down. It was a long way, so I was happy that I had that wheelchair. And then they got all the rest of my information, all my symptoms. Then they hooked me up and got some blood drawn, a urine sample, and I got my very first ultrasound. Because up to that point I didn't have an ultrasound done. And I saw the baby for the first time, which was exciting. Baby was fine, measuring right on track. Actually, it was a little heavier than it needs to be. and so that was really exciting. But my urine sample looked awful. They looked through my blood, and my vitamin B6 and my kalium, I think that's the word. If not, I will put it somewhere here, was down. Like, it was basically not existent anymore. And they're like, oh yeah, you need medication. They hooked me up to an IV. I got some medication to get the nausea, and I got the vitamins and the minerals that I needed. Everything else looked fine, so they were like, okay, you're getting those too, and hopefully you will feel better soon. I had to stay in the hospital for 3 days and 2 nights, so my husband brought me all the stuff that I needed that night after he came home from work. And that was the first time I had to leave my little baby overnight. It was so emotional and so hard for me, especially with those pregnancy hormones. But we did it. My grandma would come with her every morning so I could nurse us during the day and spend time with her, and then they would leave at night. But it was hard. It was not easy. I started being able to eat more and more every day, and I actually had a room all to myself. It was a room for 3 people, but I was in there by myself, so that was nice. But I cannot sleep in hospital. I don't know how people do it. I didn't get any sleep. I was so exhausted after the 3rd day. I was just like, I want to go home. I can't sleep here. It's awful, because every hour or so a nurse would come in at night and would check on me, and I was just not able to sleep. I was so exhausted, but I was feeling better when it came to my nausea and my dizziness and my lightheadedness and my overall general being. I don't know. I was like, after the 3rd day, I was able to walk down the hallway, which was not happening before that. I was able to drink water. I was able to eat at least a little bit for every mealtime, so that was good. So that was actually 16 weeks going into the 17th week, so I will show you my 16-week belly. Rock-a-bye. During the 17th week, so I was able to go home. I was 16 weeks and 1 day. I was able to go home that afternoon, and as soon as I got home, my grandma took care of my little one, and I was just sleeping. I got all the sleep that I lost for the prior days, and I was sleeping a lot. My grandma was making me food, so I would continue to eat, and it got much better. They actually gave me a medication and got the nausea, which I only took twice because I just didn't want to be on medication. And I tried, like, I took it once, then one day I skipped it, and then I took it again to see if my body was handling it without it. And I also noticed that I had some kind of like cold symptoms after I left the hospital. My throat was really sore, and I was coughing, and it was just not feeling really well. I guess I picked something up in the hospital, I don't know. So this week my grandma took care of my little one. She would come down every morning to take care of her, so I would rest and take it really easy, really slow to go back into my routine. And I was really thankful for that. And I was able to eat more. I was still kind of feeling nauseous, but I didn't throw up anymore, so that was good. I did notice that my daughter was not asking to nurse as much anymore though. After I got home from the hospital, she was really attached to one of her stuffed animals all of a sudden, and she wouldn't ask for nursing sessions that much. So my boobs, every nursing mama knows that, my boobs were like exploding all of a sudden, and my nipples hurt so bad, because it was like, sometimes I was like grabbing her, like, you have to drink right now because I'm in so much pain. But then she would sometimes skip a whole day without nursing. So I noticed that she was weaning herself off of nursing, which was kind of sad, but on the other hand, probably exactly what I needed, because my body was not handling as well anymore. She did eat more. I noticed that she was 11 months at that point. So I was not worried too much about it anymore, because she was almost a year. I'm not sure if it was the medication and the milk just didn't taste as much anymore, or if she just didn't need it anymore, or if she felt like, oh, my mom is not feeling well, she needs the energy for the baby and I'm backing off. I don't know what it was, but she started weaning herself during that week. I noticed that it was slowly in that process of doing that. So yeah, that's my 17th week. So I will show you my 17-week baby bump.
Baby on the treetop.
So that was my 4th month of pregnancy. It was exhausting, it was rough, it was a really big low point for me, but spoiler alert, from that point on I started to get better again, and I'm almost actually done with my 5th month now, so that video will be up soon as well. So I can tell you that I'm feeling much better now, and baby's growing, I'm doing fine, I'm gaining weight now, and I can eat, and I'm not throwing up anymore, so that's great. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.